All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order on February 4th, 2025 at 6 o'clock. Tonight's agenda is board member roll call. We'll go around the table for that. What? Yeah, go ahead, start.
Stacy Boxer,
Brian Harris.
David Powell.
And Jimmy Dent and
Bob Jarvis.
then John Bashy. And then we got approval of agenda, approval of minutes for January 21st, 2025. And then we got some bylaw updates, discussion with BCRC. And then we have some other bylaw updates, follow-up discussions. And then we're going to move to Act 250 changes, review and discussion, and then public comment and adjourn. I'll look for a motion.
Before we do that, should we have
and-
Michelle?
Yes.
Roll call, Michelle. What am I doing?
Just introducing yourself. We did roll calls.
We did.
Michelle Peckrell, Planning Commission. Sorry, I'm late.
Yep.
So I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay. a
Second.
We have a second on it. All in favor? We'll go around the.
Aye. You gotta do roll call because we
Yeah, roll call.
Bob zooming in, so you got
Stacy Boxer. Aye.
Brian Harris, aye.
Aye. You need
Bob
a
Jarvis, aye.
Yep.
Michelle Peckrell, aye.
Jim Winchester, aye.
And John Bashy's aye. Okay, approval of minutes. I don't have a copy of what they were, but do you have a copy of those?
I do. We don't usually read them, right? We just,
No, we just make a motion to approve them if everybody's okay with what we did last time.
already.
Yeah.
If you do, I'll just vote around. Make a motion or I'll accept a motion in a second.
I will move to approve the minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Stacy Boxer, aye.
Brian Harris abstained. I wasn't here.
Correct.
I most,
Bob Jarvis, aye.
Michelle Peckrell abstained, wasn't here.
Jim Winchester here.
And John Bashy is an aye. All right, and then we'll move on to our discussion. Bylaw updates, discussion with BCRC. Unfortunately, we don't have BCRC here.
They're not trying to zoom in, are they, Hannah?
Oh,
No, nobody's in the waiting room.
All right. Well, I know it's a
So,
little out of order, but I would say if they show up, we can jump back to them.
yeah, we can jump back. All right, and that's probably because the bylaw follow up on that was with them too, I think. We're gonna talk about the other stuff there. So let's just jump down to Act 250 changes, review and discussion. One of the things on Act 250 that I noticed, and I'm hoping it's a typo, I don't know, and I just wanted to bring these things up. I made some notes of the different stuff that we're looking at for these rules and under Act 250 on page 3 of that. Everybody have you guys don't have a copy of it?
I do not have a copy.
Okay. I'll just read it off here, but on page 3 there, of the new laws and it's Act 250 provisions. It says a maximum fee, they approved under maximum fee. It says clarification that the maximum fee for an Act 250 permit application shall be 165,000.
Maybe not.
Just a typo.
I would hope so. Yeah.
That's a little extreme.
Yeah.
And again, there's just little things like that did everybody get to read through some of the
Yeah.
rules?
Yeah. You caught it. I didn't.
Because
Well,
Is this right from the state or is this provided by the BCRC?
Yeah.
this is right from the state.
yeah.
Was a copy of this?
23, right?
I'm not sure. It was handed out, but it was handed to all the boards. I
Yeah.
don't.
That must have
you
been when I
probably
wasn't
wouldn't have
here.
got it, but
Yeah, it's when I wasn't here.
Are you reading about the maximum fee?
that's what they're saying. And I don't know if that's a typo. That just sounds ridiculous.
Well, that
I
doesn't
don't
mean
get
that's
that.
the fee for something. It just means that's the.
Someone's coming in now.
I don't know.
Yeah,
That's,
This is 1923 though,
yeah.
1923, they're going back that far.
This is for, this is when they passed them all,
Yeah.
July 1st of 2023, when that was in
It's
effect.
changed, even tonight's news, they're after housing and things of this nature, and they're updating this a lot from that.
Yeah.
So,
And again, there's some other little things along the way that were, I just caught that one and I was like, I hope it's just a typo type of thing, because these are the rules that we're going to be hopefully putting into our bylaws. So I'm going to try to get some clarification on that one there for sure. And I'm
Has the
sure- I'm
state
sure
handed out a
probably
deadline
BC
for when towns got to update their bylaws by in regards to
No,
this?
I haven't seen anything for a deadline on them.
Okay, I was just wondering, because
Just trying to-
if they're still live updating this stuff,
yeah.
it might be a little premature for us to be trying to discuss how to change it if they haven't even set their rules yet.
Watch the news and I
No, they're-
just,
All
This
this
is
is just our direction from the select board.
housing is.
These were the rules that,
No, but I know, I was under the impression that the state had like already changed their rules, so. But Jim's saying that they're still actively changing.
Yeah.
So-
yeah.
Everybody's dissatisfied with what's going on.
So the state's reacting to it.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, I know it's gonna take some time.
Well, that's the next question then. If they're into changing all these things, then why, it's going to be tough to put some of the
Yeah,
stuff.
Yeah, you're not gonna do it.
That's why I was asking if they, set a deadline for towns.
There was no deadlines.
No deadline.
But BCRC is here.
So, yeah.
Give him a minute to get himself settled in and when he's ready.
We're ready for you. So we'll go back to, now BCRC is here. We'll go back to a discussion with BCRC. And you're welcome to.
You're welcome to sit down and join us.
Hannah reached out to me earlier and said you guys are interested in just getting a sense of how the process works for changing the zoning bylaws. I've got a couple of copies of the state statutes related to how that works, and if you want to take one and pass it down, I've just got 6 of them here, so it's not.
And I'm sorry, could you introduce
I'm
yourself
sorry.
for our viewers?
Hello, how are you doing? My name is Scott Grimline. I am a regional planner with the Bennington County Regional Commission. I've worked with this committee twice over the past 2 years on a couple of planning studies for the town of Pownell. One of them more specifically recommended changes to some zoning bylaws. The one that we completed or started in 2022 and completed in 2023. There is a basic bylaw amendment process that is outlined by the state of Vermont and statutes. Effectively, the way that process works is the planning commission here is not a legislative body. They are an advisory body. And it's their duty to, make suggestions when that time comes to the legislative body. So in this case, that's the town select board. Effectively, the planning commission needs to write a report that goes to the town select board. A copy of that report. And there's slightly different versions that I'm going to give you just for your record, just for your knowledge. There are 3 copies of the report need to go out. One for the select board, one for the regional planning commission, and one for the agency of commerce and community development at the state level. The state one is a web form that needs to be filled out. So I've got a copy of an application from Rupert that happened in 2023. That's the version of the state web form. So you have a sense as to what that would look like. I've got a copy of a bylaw amendment, proposal that was sent, that my coworker helped put together for Peru that went to their select board. And then I've got a copy here of something Shaftesbury submitted to the Regional Planning Commission for, again, this is what it would look like for the Regional Planning Commission to look at. And effectively what they have to do is they have to say, here are the reasons why we're interested in doing this. We believe that these conform with the existing, with the zoning and with the town plan. And you need to state those reasons why. It's not super complicated. Town of Shaftesbury, it's a two-page report here, and that includes slashing out, listing what the old law was, slashing it out, and then listing what the new law is, and then now saying it, conforms, et cetera. So here, I can give this over to your chair.
I think this is approximately a 2-page report.
A 2-page report, yeah, it depends on the extent of what you're doing, right? But you can clump them together, and you can justify them all under the same justifications, if you'd like to say. Yes, we believe these conform. Yes, we believe this is a better way for us to meet the goals of the town plan, et cetera. And then, like I said, a copy needs, and there's, again, slightly different reports, but it's just sort of cutting and pasting from them to the select board chair of the Regional Planning Commission and the Department of Housing and Community Development. Now, the state statute says that needs to be sort of a hand delivered or mail delivered when it comes to the RPC and the select board chair for reasons. You can't just send an email. But the state statute is there for you to just kind of look and see what the little details are and make sure you're getting everything on the checklist written on there. The process then is effectively the select board needs to determine whether this is going to be something that they vote on in a regular meeting, or whether this is something they want to open to the public for a public vote. And then once that determination is made, there needs to be a public hearing set. The Planning Commission hosts the public hearing, and that needs to be done within between 15 and 120 days of that decision to take up the issue by the select board whenever that's made. So the public hearing happens. Hopefully the select board also attends and listens and understands, especially if they're the ones voting on it. And then any sort of amendments or changes have to be then made within 15 days of the vote. Once the public hearing happens, as far as the zoning administrator is concerned, and all the regulations, he has to start approving things as if they are, as if the bylaws have been changed. And then none of the actual permits go into effect until the bylaws are actually changed. He starts to then approve documents, assuming that the change is going to happen. And then there is a way that the public can block the adoption of the bylaws in the intermittent period there. And that's if they get a 5% petition of the public to force the issue to become a public vote. Those are effectively the big picture of how that works.
Right. I have a little question about something, and I'm not saying it in any way. I'm not getting anybody in trouble doing it, but we had a permit with the DRB, and at that, the bylaws that we had currently in place is what we normally would look at for that permit, even though it wasn't a big deal really with the permit. But at that meeting, we went by based off of what these new rules were, not what our current bylaws were. Is that what we should have done, or is that not?
Yeah, the DR, so if there are bylaws that are, what rules are you talking, like, is it?
Like the new state rules that had come down, we have a list of the rules that came out. And they said that we were under the understanding we had to follow those rules when we were determining it instead of our current bylaws.
Yeah, the state laws supersede local laws in that case. So you're following the right,
Interesting.
Okay.
right rules in that
So
case.
even though they're not adopted.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking for, because if it's not,
Is this, the state laws have been,
these haven't been adopted yet. We haven't put any of them in.
Oh, they're not in effect.
They're not in effect.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about things like Act 250 or whatever.
no,
That wasn't,
no.
because there's a period of time when there's a state law, and then when a state law goes into effect, it always says Act 250 will begin, as of
As a certain
January
time.
1st or whatever, of next year. And so from that point forward, yes, the state law is there, but, I'm sorry, but there are recommendations you're saying for a new, state
Right.
actions, I'm not 100% familiar with what you're
I mean,
referring
it
to.
wasn't that really a big deal. The permit went through regardless of really what those were. It was pretty self-explanatory, but it was kind of guiding us as of these rules, not what our current bylaws were when we were looking at it. And I just following as a member at the time, they said, this is what we're looking at. And
Yeah. So the zoning board acts like as a judicial body, which is slightly different than the roles that the planning commission holds. And then, the legislative body is the, select board. So as a judicial body, you have the ability to issue variances and make judgment calls, that are different than what is specifically outlined in the law. And you can do that, but you should be basing your decisions on what is the town law, at the moment for the most part.
Yeah, makes sense.
Hey, to be clear, we're talking about all of these rules. I think we all got them, right? The
yes,
multiple pages, new Act 47. Each one of these has an effective date on them. So very few of them are in the future. Most of them are in the past. But there are a few in the future.
So if there's anything that has a date that has already been in effect, then you have to act as if that is the case, because the state law supersedes the local laws.
That makes sense.
Interesting.
that answered my question. Guys all want copies of these? Yeah,
I would.
yes, please. Can we get some copies of these, Hannah? Thank you.
But if planning were to update bylaws from state recommendations, but then also from like BCRC report recommendations, would the process be the same for both of the updates, or would it be different for state because we have to do those?
You can, the process for is the same either way. Yeah. the process.
So with that in mind, and that was I wanted to ask that question also. I think we have two previous BCRC reports that we commissioned and that the town of Pownell commissioned. One for finding areas in the town for economic development, and the other one was for the town, specific to the town green, the more recent one. If we wanted to make recommendations for those, should we be rolling them into this or just treating those as three separate things and separate recommendations?
I would, so you could have, the public hearing can refer to more than one agenda item. That's either going to be in front of the select board or more than one thing that can be voted on. That sort of Australian ballot, the public, vote there. And so I would probably recommend, and I think you can roll them all into one. But I think it would probably be better to say that these are the ones that we are updating because we're just cleaning house and we're, modifying our work. So it's, equivalent to state statutes. And then here are the ones that we are changing because of additional reasons. You need to include in your report reasoning for the changes in the bylaws. So you could just have one long report, I suppose, but it probably makes more sense for people to understand, especially if you're going to be when you bring this to the public, to say, here is our general, housekeeping maintenance, updating the laws so that they are
Compliant.
they're compatible with state laws. And then here are our other laws that, here are our other changes that we want to do because of economic development reasons or whatever other reasons the commission chooses to list as their reasoning for wanting to update the bylaws in that case.
So as
So
a,
is it- oh, sorry.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, so as a division of labor, it might make sense to do, these new laws that we're trying to update separately and maybe quicker. There's probably more time sensitive, right, to adhere to the state rules. And then maybe one other report that incorporates both of the other studies, but be clear about what the studies are in the recommendations. That way there's two BCRC reports that we're asking for action on. And separately from that, there's and this is a question, not a statement. And then separately from that, there's the new state statutes that we're trying to incorporate into our bylaws. Does that make sense? And would that make sense?
Well, let me ask a question related to that. The town green thing doesn't involve any zoning bylaw changes, does it?
There were no recommendations, I believe, for changes in that. It was mostly just,
So I think we have two sets of bylaws and the town green thing is a third separate thing. It's not part of
Oh.
zone.
So maybe I combined the two wrong things. It's either three separate or two, and we can pretty much section off the 2 and 1 however we think is more logical. But that's what I was trying to get to is what is the logical division here? It might be
as long
just
as-
3 different recommendations.
I think as long as it's clear to the public, but it's probably better to combine. If you plan on doing additional things, it's probably better to just do it so you don't have to have multiple public meetings. So it doesn't look like the town is asking the public to do things to be engaged and involved, multiple times a year related to these issues. That if you plan to potentially ask for an update to the zoning bylaws sometime in the next 6 months, I think it's probably better to just put it as 2 separate voting items, but just have it share a public meeting or have it share a ballot.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. We have to be cognizant of what we're asking the public to do.
Any other questions people have?
Well, I know we were expressing hope that your organization could help us through this process because it seems quite significant, and you do it often and so forth. And I don't know what we need to know because we don't even know if there's money available, but
Yeah, Hannah said that they're gonna find some money for it, so
what kind of a
it's gonna go
timeline?
back to the select board to
Yeah,
review for that, but
so I'm curious, what kind of a timeline and process would that normally take? And I am feeling like it would make sense to look at those recommendations made a couple of years back as well as the state ones, even if we're separating our rationale for them, but let's do it all as one package.
So if you're going to, so you want to get a full, I'm just trying to understand what you're asking for. So you're asking if BCRC has the time to engage on this, and we'd have to figure out what our timeline is and the schedule is for that. I have to talk to my executive director, and my colleagues to see what our availability is. We did just, recently our zoning, specifically our, a person who does land use and zoning issues the most. She has left for a job at the state. And we are currently in a hiring process right now. So I'm not 100% certain as to what our timeline and our availability is. I know that some people are picking up the slack on a couple of other projects with, we're doing at the Manchester Village, and also the town of Manchester, for changing their town plans. And I'm not exactly sure what the timeline is for my colleagues, but I will be happy to get back to you and report what that would be and get a sense as to what the budget for that might be. I kind of need to get a sense of what the scope is, and effectively, and how much of a How many of those suggestions that we brought in that 2022 report, you'd want to sort of copy verbatim. If there are things that you would, there's a lot in there, you know, and honestly, the way it was written, specifically some are focused on a certain type of commercial development. Others are focused on more mixed use development. Others are focused on industrial development. And I'm not saying that the bylaws that we recommended clash with each other. I think there are maybe times where they, if you wanted to take an industrial development focus, it may not be the same choice as if you wanted to do a, you know, mixed use, you know, commercial residential focus. So it's something that the commission needs to consider and think about sort of what the à la carte menu is there as to what issues they want to do. And if there are things, yes or no, that they want to change. So you may say, we want this, but we don't want the change in the parking regulations, but we're perfectly fine with the wall-to-wall building, allowing for buildings in the downtown area to be built, you know, wall-to-wall without there being any a 10-foot space in between them as is currently the law. You know, that's kind of the thing you know, we need to know what the scope of that's going to be and how much you are interested in doing. So there's a little bit of homework and workshopping that needs to happen before that. So you can say, we want to change 15 things. We want to change 3 things. You know, it may change the amount that we're doing. That being said, you know, some of that has already been sort of pre-written out. That was done as a planning study and not sort of as a legal document. So again, we'd want our land use planner specifically, who has a better sense as to how statute is written, just to confirm that those are all compatible with the way things are supposed to go.
Okay. Yeah, because I have some questions on some of these rules at the time, and I know we'll be discussing them down the road here, but I feel after reading through a bunch of these, I feel like some of them are going to be, they don't fit Pownell currently, the way Pownell's laid out. Like making block housing and stuff like that, and apartments, stacking them up 5 stories is not really, I don't think is a view for Pownell itself.
Okay.
But that's kind of some of the rules that they initially put in here, or what they wrote out is how they can't be more restrictive. It's almost the same, it's saying they can build 5 or more units. It can't be more restrictive than a single unit house.
Now, I believe that those are regulations that are specifically for areas that have both sewer and water connection.
Yes.
So that's the state law. And if the town of Pownell denies, if your planning review board denies a application based on Pownell's law and not based on the state law, they leave themselves potentially subject to a lawsuit by the developer who would want who would want to follow state law. So that's just
So we can't be more restrictive than the state law.
not one.
That's what this says, is can be more restrictive than like a single unit. So we can't say, I'm going to restrict somebody building 5 houses as they did with 1 house.
Right.
But the
Yeah.
downfall to that is the
We
sewer.
addressed that specific issue with the Home Act in that 2023 report.
Yeah.
The economic development report. And you actually have a very limited area where that would apply. Largely it's just in, you know, Pownell, kind of across from the firehouse post office area down there. And
Water and septic.
yeah, and again, all those changes, you know, the idea of them is one thing, and then the sort of will of the property owner to want to do that is a whole other thing too. But right now, the right of the property owner, if you are on sewer and water, they have the freedom to build a 5-unit building.
What if there's only sewer?
5 units per.
What if there's only sewer but not water?
If there's only sewer but not water, that is not.
No.
That is not.
Has to
That
be
doesn't
water and
apply.
sewer.
There's also a potential request that the town can make if they don't want to do that. And I know from speaking with your your sewer department. She said you're at or near capacity.
That was,
And you can make a special, you can say, if that can be confirmed, then you can make a special exemption or request the state a special exemption from that, based upon, already having completely
well, that,
maxed
yeah,
facility.
and that was gonna be my next question, because I know that they already were restricting, because of the flow of sewage, they were restricting some stuff, or saying that they couldn't,
They can't have new.
some usage,
Yeah.
like in the trailer parks, they're saying they had to take out some if they weren't there, because once they took them out, then they couldn't put them back in because the usage would be too much and stuff like that. So there was discussion like that around town and
Yeah,
different meetings and stuff. So that would be my next concern, is that if we don't restrict it or don't even look at it, and that was a rule that we had to follow, somebody says, I'm putting 5 places in and they're hooking it to it, but yet the sewage system wouldn't take the 5 because they didn't have enough.
So we need
then
that.
so you need to talk to, is Kathy? I'm trying to remember her name.
Darcy.
Darcy, thank you.
Darcy.
Darcy Fruit, right? Yeah, so you need to talk to Darcy and have her write some kind of a memo stating that you are at capacity and the laws might not be effective.
Well, how's that gonna work for economic development if we're looking
That's the
to
other.
bring things into this town and we're saying, but we have no capacity at all?
Mhm.
That's
We're gonna have
that's
to,
complicated too, yeah. I
we're gonna
mean,
have to improve the sewage system
that.
of the town at some point.
I believe that was one of the recommendations in the 2023 report, possible up for infrastructure,
Yeah,
We're gonna have
for
to.
septic, water.
yeah. And the water structure is also very complicated in the town here because it's not municipally owned water. It is a quasi municipally owned because the way that the state views fire departments, is as a municipal facility. So again, it's only that one really limited area where the fire department is providing the water. If it's a private well system that's providing the water, like the senior homes across Route 7A here, they don't fall under the same rules.
So we're basically looking at is some of these rules probably, we're going to be requesting that they don't apply based off of that. And then we'll be going back to whatever does apply to us or can be used.
Yeah, but then again, and then again, I'd recommend looking at some sewer capacity expansions, if that's a thing that can be done. And then once that happens, of course, you'd have to you'd have to allow for the changes. Yeah.
Okay. I know, it brings up more questions.
No, just, like the racetrack, it was going to be designed to put housing in it with the sewage. But now we say we have none. One hand doesn't read the other. It just doesn't. I mean, we went out there to the trailer park out there, and that was going to be all full blast. And now we don't have enough septic. All of a sudden, we don't have enough. We don't have enough water. We don't have enough septic. We got plenty of water. The place next to me is for sale, 10 acres. And she's gonna want something there, there's plenty of water there. And she can get septic. I got septic on my side of the road, so she can get it. But might not be.
Well, something we need to learn.
Yeah.
Is she on town water? Is she town water or well water?
No, she's a vacant land now.
Oh, okay.
She can get it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that's all out there. It's first piece of land going for sale. That's big time on Route 7, next to me,
Okay.
right there.
The car place or the other side?
No, on my side.
Oh,
Debbie's telling her. Yeah. So there's a lot going on, and we may not be in a state where we can do it. There's always something hanging. And it was, the septic come in more or less to clean up the river. There was a lot of straight pipes and things going on, so it didn't include commercial property. They went by 14 acres. The girl's running for selectman. She owns that property, but across from Pam Yankees, across from,
Yeah, well, you have the most unique sewer layout I've ever seen, because
it is, yeah, yeah.
yeah, a few very long pipes that don't really connect to anything for a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was that, you know, and it's,
It was put in as if it was gonna be hooking up to a lot of places, but I think when the facility got built,
it just blew
didn't
by.
accommodate all the extra that they
Yeah.
paid for it.
Right, and so I guess the question then, and I know that there is municipal money available for, state money available, for sewage expansion capacity, because that is, something the state is very committed to, especially as they're looking to have these, laws show some tangible effect. It may be a lot easier for Pownell if, your problem is not the fact that you don't have enough pipe laid in the ground, but the problem is the fact that you just need a couple of extra, tanks and whatever
Yeah.
you might need another quarter acres worth of infrastructure or acres worth of infrastructure somewhere along that line, as opposed
Is
to.
that something we write a grant for?
That is, there are grant opportunities for that. I believe the town of Shaftesbury got a grant to investigate that fairly recently. So I may be able to find what that was.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be something back to the select board to be looking into, I think, more of that.
Yeah.
I think the capacity of the sewage needs to be increased. Otherwise, we're spinning our wheels here. You came up with this whole economic plan. And if we can't do any of this, what's the sense?
There's a will, there's a way, I guess.
That's what we're here to find
That
out.
attitude.
So does anybody else have anything that they're thinking of in their head that they would like to ask while he's here? And I think we have some process of direction that we're gonna look into. We're gonna make sure we have the reports and stuff. And then we can start figuring out how this is gonna lay out. He's gonna find out if he's got time.
Well, we need to figure out like what we want to ask him for, because that's going to dictate how much time
Right.
they have to put toward it. So we have to give him that before he can get back to us.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Any recommendations, you guys? What are you thinking?
Well, it strikes me that we have certain things that are mandated. We got to do that. So that's the base. We should probably go through this 3-year-old report. I've read it once, but there's a lot of questions that I don't know at all. And we should maybe pull out things from that maybe we add to that base. But, the base is the critical right now. And if you have limited capacity, then maybe that's all we can do right now.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, you have to find
And
out.
again, I think if we're doing one, it probably shouldn't be that much more of a haul to do both, but again, I'll check with my
Like if we just went through the PowerPoints, both of those reports were delivered in either PDF or PowerPoint, I don't remember. But going back and taking a look at them, I think we as the planning commission have to go through and say, we agree with this area. The first one on the economic development was, what areas can we designate as for businesses? And we'd say, we agree with this one, we agree with this one, we disagree with this one. And that's kind of what we're going to send over to the select board. And then to Scott's point earlier, I really think it's a solid one, is that I do think we want to get this done as quickly as we can. I say that even though I'm pretty slow. We want to get this done as quickly as we can, because these come with public input. And if we have to have those public input sessions, you don't want to have 3 separate ones. You want to call the public together, let them know what you're trying to do, and maybe section it off and be clear about, here's what we have to do. Here's some recommendations we're making for business development, and here's what our town green is going to look like.
It might also be worth having conversations. Bob's right about timing is important there. Just reminded me, it's probably also worth having a conversation with the chair of the select board, just to ask sort of what their timeline would be and whether or not they think that's something that they would like to vote on at a select board meeting, or whether it's something that they would like to bring to the public for adoption. Again, those might be 2 separate issues based upon whether, one is the state laws are, and they may want to bring something to the public if it's sort of above and beyond that. But because, you know, once you submit this report to the select board, you're setting off basically a 2-month timeline where you have to start issuing warnings and holding public meetings. Then you might want to schedule it with them so it meets with their timeline in case they wish to, you know, combine this vote with other public meeting votes or make it so that it fits properly within the agenda as they're planning for the year.
That seems pretty clear to me.
Yeah.
And I think at our next meeting, I would like to do that with, try to get Darcy here and get some input from that system. And then we can do that. I'm thinking myself, I'm thinking maybe we can, at our next meeting, we'll see if we can get Darcy here to review some of that. We'll get a better idea of we'll discuss more of this stuff and what we're gonna do for our timeline. And then we can shoot it out to him to get the response in a couple of weeks here. And then we got time to read over some of this paperwork and stuff too.
Sure. It's a lot to read here.
Hannah, do you have the report from 3 years ago that you could email everybody? Yeah.
If everybody else is fine with doing that,
Sounds good.
then he's got time to check what their schedule is like a little bit, and then we'll have a better idea where we're looking to need. And then we can fill them in and go from there.
Yep. Because then I think regardless what we do, we're gonna end up asking the select board to try to pursue upgrading the septic system.
Yes. We'll probably write a note up or something and submit it as a recommendations from here, so.
I had a long talk with her about the Legion and trying to get 6 or 5 spots. And she wasn't for it. She said that the state has a lot to do with the septic and what they can do. And the Legion pays a lot of extra and try to reduce that. She said you were going to eliminate some things. And we were going full blast in the beginning. We needed it. Now we're down a little less. But she said you've got to eliminate some things. And we're not going to eliminate anything.
You talk about number of tables that the Legion could have?
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So she said the state would have something to say about it.
Yep.
So we'll see what she says.
Yeah, I think it's,
Yeah.
they limit the number of tables you can have based on the number of
Right.
bathroom toilets you have, I think.
Yeah. It's the downstairs that bothers us, you know. Yeah. Be interested to see what she says.
Okay, anybody else have anything else?
Not that I can think of at the moment.
No, sounds good. Place to start.
Yeah.
Pay your help.
Sure, no problem.
Yes, thank
If you have any other questions,
Coming down.
feel free to let me know. I'll email Hannah once I get back to talking about Bill and get a general sense of what our availability is.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll get back to you after our meeting on the 18th and send you what we think we're gonna be trying to do here and our time frame of doing that.
Great, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for coming.
Appreciate it.
Septic and water.
Well, more septic on the town's part.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're really fortunate to have
I
town,
mean, the pipes
small
are there.
town that does have septic.
We kind of really didn't have a choice in that. It needed to happen.
Everybody wanted.
Yeah.
Originally, everybody wanted it.
Would this come in the 70s?
No.
No.
Come in.
That was back in the early 2000s.
2001.
Yeah.
Is when, isn't it?
2001. I
Yeah, they tore down the old tannery, and while doing that, they figured out there was a bunch of properties that just had direct lines dumping right into the river.
Really?
So
It's been that way for a long time.
crazy thing about the EPA, they do not like raw sewage into the waterways.
Well, everybody had cleaned up, you know, Mass cleaned up.
Mhm. And and it went to when it got put in, it was directed towards mobile home parks because there was a lot of them in town.
Right.
So it was directed more towards them because they were having lots of issues.
Yeah.
small pieces of land, lots of trailers, lots of regular, each site had its own septics.
Right.
But they were starting to fail and there's no place to go or anything else. So
Right.
it's either close them down or find a way of getting rid of that sewage. So that was a bigger thing. I know up towards my road, they were running out of the ground up there, through the swamps and stuff like that. So it was a big issue. And that's cleaned up a lot of that stuff now, but now we're, again, one thing led to the next. I don't think it was looked at that time towards the future.
Well, I think there was plans to expand and put more houses onto it, but they cut, in order to cut the budget, cut the price tag, a lot of places.
Yeah.
They should have.
Pretty much everything on my side of the river over there, except for 2 houses on Wood Road got eliminated, because originally they were gonna connect like 40 houses.
Yeah. It should have went down to Stewart's. That's.
Yeah, it should have back then.
Yeah, there was enough money too,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't.
Yeah, I had already spent a whole bunch of money then.
Yeah.
Which is like what Scott was saying, like you have a lot of long stretches with nothing attached to it.
Yeah.
Originally, there was gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a lot. It stopped, like, we stopped just before my mom's house. Cause my dad was asking about it at the time. I remember the big discussion on it and he's like, you're stopping at the trailer park, but yeah, there's like 5 more houses you could get to here. And if it goes uphill, it's easier to get down because it's already uphill. So you get all the houses at the top. And they're like, no, it's got to stop here because this is what we're shooting for. So like, there's a whole bunch of area that they could still be putting stuff in, but didn't do it just for save money.
So I think it would be worth it to bring it up to the select board that, start applying to the state and the feds to see what kind of grants and
Yeah.
assistance we can get.
Mhm.
Either grants or maybe no interest loans.
Well, that was one of my questions, like I said, one of my questions on it because when I read through these laws, I'm like, wow, I don't know how we're going to be able to do that.
Well, I think
I
it's
know-
gonna have to kind of be a package deal where we're gonna have to figure out like what exactly we're gonna shoot for. Like if we want to push for economic development, then obviously we're gonna have to upgrade down toward that end of town. And bring it down towards Stewart's and upgrade enough to give Mac Molding the option if they wanted to hook on to that kind of stuff. And then we target that with the zoning changes as far as commercial, mixed use, industrial, whatever, in whichever area we choose to go with.
Mhm.
And then that gives the select board a direction on where they want to try to target apply for financing or grants.
Definitely.
That, at least that's my understanding of how.
No, that's right on. Yeah.
So really, it's still gonna come back down to us initially, first step of figuring out what direction we want to push for. Because obviously, a lot of the mandated stuff, as far, like, some of it will not apply to us, but we have to, basically give them a reason why it doesn't apply to us.
Mhm.
And A,
Yeah, we got to put the letters in first or the reports in first.
yeah,
And we'll.
So do we want to try to pull a workshop together just to get like at least a few of us together? Try putting this together rather than waiting another 2-3 weeks for an open meeting? I mean, what's
And if anybody wants to do works,
I can't.
it depends on a day for me. That's all, my schedule, but.
So explain what it is you want to try and do at this workshop. I'm not.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just wrapping my mind around this. So basically, I think we would have to pull the 2023 report that the BCRC generated to us, plus the economic development one, and then go through that, like he said, picking and choosing what we think would work, what we like, it's not going to be worth it,
Right.
go with that, then compare that against the list of what the state has generated.
Yeah.
And then say, all right, well, if we do this zoning change in this area down through here, we would need to upgrade the septic down through here. So,
And then you have a better something to talk to Darcy.
yeah,
You'll know what you're talking about.
because we can't just say we want to upgrade.
No.
It's like,
Right.
well, upgrade
How
what?
much?
Because we're not going to just upgrade every pipe in town.
No. Right.
Is it the pipes or is it the actual system?
I would imagine it might be a bit of both.
Both.
Yeah, there might be some piping that needs to be updated. I know when they put it, the ones they put through here were good, probably big enough piping. Because they put it in lieu of more hooking on.
Yeah.
Um,
But I know she has said before that
system,
some of the
sure.
pump stations they can't handle anymore, you would need to upgrade the pumping stations, so.
Right, so the one on Jackson would probably have to be upgraded.
They have
If
enough
you're doing
property?
anything else.
They have enough-
Well, that's gonna be just it, like, this is, that part of it would be a discussion that we'd have to have with Darcy.
Yeah.
But we gotta figure out like what we wanna try to shoot for, so I say we do that, then we can bring Darcy in and be like, hey, this is our thought.
Mhm.
What do you think?
Does it make sense?
Yeah, does it make sense? Could you, because she might come back and say, yeah, you could upgrade this, but you need such and such size pumping station and we don't have a plot big enough for it. So right there might be a kibosh. I'm just throwing
Well,
that
then maybe we
example.
need to meet with her first.
But again, what do we say to her? If you meet with her without having a plan, you're just saying, hey, we want to upgrade, what can we upgrade? Is
Yeah.
that what you want to do?
Well, the question is, can we upgrade?
Well, I'm sure we can upgrade. It's gonna be a
Money.
question.
Yeah,
on
If you
what-
got
where-
money, you can upgrade.
There's a space to upgrade, I believe, down there. There's plenty of space for it.
So it's just a question of money.
It's just a matter of getting.
Well, everything's always a question of money.
But then what makes sense? And that's what
Yeah.
here is like, let's make some priorities here.
Yeah.
Who wants to do before our next meeting? A get together and go do a
I'm
meeting.
happy to do
someplace.
that.
At the library or someplace we can, or here.
Yeah, I can, Monday evenings are usually pretty clear for me right now. I could potentially do like a Saturday afternoon. My Saturday mornings are booked.
Saturday wouldn't be good for me, but weeks,
I would
right now,
rather
the
during
week
the
are
week.
okay. I got something every weekend.
But Mondays are definitely my clear day, but like
Monday
Tuesday,
night, I
Wednesdays
assume
don't
you're
work
saying.
for me at all. Then Thursdays usually are here twice a month.
Yeah, I'm booked on the 10th, but I could do, I mean, it's the next Monday, what is that, the 17th?
We have,
Being new to this, I know there's been a lot of talk about open meeting laws and stuff. This wouldn't be a problem.
no, it's a workshop, so there's no open meeting
As
laws.
long as there's less than a quorum.
Okay,
So that's why I'm thinking, if we just pull 3 people together,
Mhm.
we're less than a quorum.
mhm.
I mean, it's the people from the public can still come and sit and talk with us.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna be a question and answer session.
I have
We're
a
gonna
key
be
to the library.
reviewing stuff and
If you
trying
want to
to,
go down to the Lucy Room or something, we can go in there anytime. So I can get
yeah, so
permission.
it's just figuring out like who wants to go and what day works.
So what 3 people would like to do that first?
Well, on a Monday, I could probably make it, but when,
We only can do 3 though. We can't have more
Well,
than.
maybe better to have people who've been around.
Well, I suspect this is gonna end up being multiple sessions.
Yeah.
So maybe it might be like you do,
I'm sorry, just to be clear, I don't think we're restricted to having a meeting of more than 3. It's just that if we do it, we have to warn it and open it to the public, but you don't have to record it. It doesn't have to be a Zoom session.
Yeah, I
It can
think,
be just open for those people meeting. So we could actually have more than 3 engaged in it. And maybe we do.
yeah,
well, it looks like we're gonna have the interest, so.
Session before, like all of us showed up, we just warned it, and if people wanted to come hang out,
Okay.
we did that when we were doing the town plan.
Okay, well, why don't we plan on that then? No?
Or
We
we could
open it
vote
up
on who
and-
we don't want to include.
Well, there's gonna be no Zoom, so you're out.
I'll put you on my FaceTime.
Yeah, that would work.
So
Um,
I'll say I'm available after 6 o'clock all week, every week.
So-
I got stuff
Yeah.
up until 6, so anything after that, we can meet, I would be able to get there. Anybody?
I'm fine. I'm just gonna be
Times
on
are
the
after that?
16th through the 19th, but
I mean, if you're saying Monday's your only night, the 10th I can't do, but other than that, I could do any night.
Yeah, so Mondays
don't have to have
and
everybody
Saturdays
there.
are ideal for me. I could do Sundays after church. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays are hard for me with family obligations. And occasionally I could pull a Friday, but not this coming Friday. And definitely not Friday the 14th.
What about, so next Monday, is that, how many people will be able to do Monday?
not me.
Are we talking 6 or
Monday,
7?
Are you talking the 10th or the 17th?
10th.
Would be the.
Next Monday is the
this
10th.
coming-
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Monday I might have a tennis.
10th,
Shit.
I'm available at 10th, not the 17th.
What about- You said Sunday afternoon. That would be great for me. I don't know if that's good or bad for others.
Well, this Sunday.
Sunday, we'll be able to do, we can probably do.
Oh, shit, it's a Super Bowl.
Super
Sorry.
Bowl.
Yeah, but that's in the evening.
I know.
Listen, I'm pretty sure we can hook up a TV down there at the library.
Yeah, we'll get a lot of work done. Bring the beer and the chips.
I am definitely in.
I would say Monday, anybody wants to make a Monday and sometime after 6 o'clock or around 6 o'clock. We can make, anybody that could do that one, and then we can do another one Sunday.
Where are you planning on doing it?
Where?
Yeah, are you gonna do it here?
We could do it here, maybe we can get the library.
Because I just don't know about boarding it. Can we do that? Just plan, like, board it at the library if you did?
Yeah, would it be a lot of hassle having it at the library in the
You guys can
evening?
have it here.
Usually not, except that I can't be there, so we got to find somebody else with a key.
The whole pesky key situation.
Well, I'm sure we can work that out. I can hand my key to somebody if I get permission, so, and that won't be hard. So we can get it done.
Okay.
She said.
Either place.
Here.
I can't.
Is there anything happening here on Monday?
Not on Monday.
Okay.
We have meetings
Here.
Tuesday and Thursday, but Monday, Wednesday are clear.
So just so everybody's aware, I usually have meetings that go right up till 6, and that's why I'm not there in person. 6:30 or later, I can be there in person, and weekends I'm of course available.
That's fine. That'd be fine.
6:30.
Okay with that. So anybody, let's say Monday, 6:30.
Not this Monday.
Yes, this Monday.
This coming Monday, yeah. So we can go Monday, 6:30.
That's in this room?
Well, this room or we can do the other room. Either way, we'll be in the building.
In
Yes.
here someplace, here or there, doesn't matter.
Planning workshop.
So 6:30 Monday.
Okay, so for material, for what we're gonna need for that then is we're gonna need the copies of the reports,
Yeah,
the 2 reports.
it should be in our folder though, shouldn't they?
It's
Well,
what,
they exist digitally, so if we could get Hannah, maybe, if you're willing to run the printer for 2 hours for us.
Don't we have the copies?
I don't have a copy. I only had the digital copy and that was on my work on the town laptop.
Digital copies of both reports.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
is it all on the laptops?
Yes, but I can also do hard copies if you want, whatever.
Well, I'm just saying, thinking if we already have laptops, we can just all. grab them.
Well, I would like to have a couple of hard copies.
Okay.
I mean, not everybody, I mean, I personally would like a hard copy.
We
I usually run
can
one
write on the hot
myself.
copy, yeah.
Yeah, take notes, circle and highlight
Yes,
it.
that's what I do too.
I
Yeah.
think it's in Julie's. Julie's got them.
Hard copy of everything. That's what I
I
do
think
too.
Julie has a package.
Oh, yeah.
I got it, you know, I
All right,
it's there.
So we'll probably need some, when you got any free time, if we could get hard copies of those reports.
If you guys are doing a work session, it might be a good time too to show you guys how the laptops,
Okay.
how to log into them. Brian knows.
I don't know nothing.
The one.
Maybe I'll go and then I'll make some.
No, I can, but the last time I logged in on it, because I'm not my old access, I'm under the new one that used to be Will's. I couldn't find a lot of stuff that I used to have.
Okay.
So the emails that I had those links attached to them are not under Will's old email, my new one. So I couldn't find a lot of that stuff.
Well, hard copy does work for a lot of people anyway,
Oh, yeah.
so we can
Yeah.
find things out.
All right, so we'll need the reports from the BCRC. I would say a copy of our current zoning bylaws. I would definitely like a copy of the proposed changes from the state, because I have a copy of that.
We already had.
So it looks like the proposed copies,
Yes,
it looks like the proposed copies from the state are actually at the end of the BCRC report. Hannah, that's what you just
Which
sent out, right?
report? And which report, Bob?
Hannah, you just sent one out during this meeting, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that one I opened and I scrolled down and I was surprised
maybe
to
he
see
tried.
the same bylaw or the same new Act 47.
I'm downloading right now, so
Oh, yeah.
I'm waiting with anticipation.
Yeah, this is in here.
All right, and then I'm also going to reply to all with
Yes.
a Word
This whole
copy.
thing is at the back of this.
How huge is that file?
Septic.
There we go.
9 megabytes.
Oh,
And this. Is she gonna be?
there we go.
She don't want anything new. And is she gonna, well, once we get grants. I don't think we'll get grants.
37 pages. Plus this.
Development.
I didn't realize this is part of, what do you want? So you want this?
This copy?
Yeah.
If you, yeah,
Of course, it's in here.
is there anything anybody else can think of that we should have going into this, the workshop?
Do you want to
Highlight.
set a second meeting or just the first? Or just? set it
Well,
up?
we can try to set up a second one now or wait to see where we end up after this one on Monday.
Well, the only reason I asked is because I won't be at the one on Monday, so I'd love to get a second one on my calendar so I
I
can
was thinking.
catch up with you guys.
One on Sunday. If you want.
Following Sunday,
Are you talking the following Sunday?
Yeah.
the 17th or whatever it is.
That would be the 16th. I'm gonna tentatively say I should be available.
Cause we're gonna have our meeting on the 18th. So,
So what time? You want to do that in the morning?
No,
I can't do Sunday morning. I don't get out of church till at least 11.
1 o'clock?
1 would probably work for me.
okay.
What?
Anybody else?
I'll be in Aspen, so.
Well, lucky you.
whoop-de-doo. Enjoy your skiing.
Gotta work. I got 2 shows.
Yeah.
And that'll.
Sure, likely excuse.
I work for a Grammy award winning artist. She won the other night, so yeah, we got shows.
Good. Did we say 1:30?
Yeah.
1 o'clock?
That's right.
1?
I think that's what was said,
We'll do that one at the library.
if you want,
Yeah,
or
we can do that. If we can.
at the library. Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm thinking otherwise we've got to ask Hannah or Tara to come up to the town hall on. a
Oh,
day
yeah,
off
let's
to
not
hold
do
it up.
that. Sure.
It's open on Sunday, right?
No, but I have the key and I'll just get, I have to fill out a little form to get permission and
Okay,
that's no problem.
cool. Thank you. Okay, so we have 2 meetings set up.
Very nice.
And then we can do, review that stuff, see if we can put something together for it.
And Hannah takes care of whatever these warnings and stuff like that. We don't have to do anything.
No.
I'm just.
Yeah,
in this.
So one of the things we'll do also is we'll write up a suggestion. Because so for the grant stuff, we're gonna write up a suggestion why we're doing this, so we could talk about that.
For the
And
select.
then we'll finalize that at our on the 18th, at our meeting that we're gonna do on record and stuff, and we'll finalize what we're looking to send up, and then we'll send that to the select board.
Yeah.
We can do that after. Well, we can do that during the meeting as we're doing the other stuff, and then we'll just finalize it and make it public and what we're looking at doing.
Okay. Do we want to extend an invite to the select board? If they want to come down and throw any input in on this, or,
We should
I
get.
mean, I doubt any of them would show up. I mean,
Oh, it would be a public meeting. I guess they could come if they wanted.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anybody wants to come, it'll be open anyway, so.
Okay.
Okay, toss it out there.
Okay,
Hey, Hannah, just to let you know, I just responded back with a Word document that is these new laws. When you try to print those, they're not going to print well. Every page is a different size and a different orientation once you get down to the bottom of that report. So you
I'm
can
glad
take
you
the
said
Word
something because I was gonna print that.
Well, the one that I just sent out will print pretty well. It's on 7 landscape pages. Now, that's not the BCRC report. That's just the new laws.
Just, yeah.
okay. Hey, any other things anybody have? Any questions or comments?
I don't. I think we're pretty well covered for tonight. I think we've set ourselves up for
Okay.
quite the task over the next couple of
We-
workshop sessions.
Who doesn't have a copy of these laws?
Stacy was kind enough to give me a copy of
I
his.
gave him mine.
Okay.
Because there's
That's
another
about-
set in here.
Bob just
Do you,
emailed.
is it in?
Yeah, mine wouldn't open, so.
That's the rules are in the back of that?
Yeah.
Probably don't have.
I didn't realize it.
Bob just said?
Oh, okay, cool.
Every now and then it makes me like log completely
Yeah.
out, then like re-enter my credentials and log back in order to
All right,
download
so-
I don't need any
attachments.
more paper.
We would need copies of those things if you, when you got time, if you could please do that for us. One other thing we're gonna need is, if you could you possibly reach out to Darcy and see if she would be available to meet with us on the 18th?
Yes.
We'll do our sessions. See if we can put together some information and a letter to the select board. And then on the 18th, we'll come back together, which a couple days later, so come back together and go over all the stuff that we're together. See if we can make it official stuff on it, and then we'll send it out to what needs to be done and then.
I think at that point, that's when we'll be reaching out to Scott and them.
To Scott again, yeah.
Oh, cool.
And then we'll know a better timeline of what we need to do.
Yeah, because then he'll have a better idea what we're aiming for, and then he can figure out how much work's gonna be involved on their end.
Right. Sounds good.
Sounds great.
All right. Other than that, we went over other stuff, but that's follow-up discussion on bylaw stuff. And we already did some Act 250 things that I wanted to say in there. I'd like to find out about that one. I'll probably see if I can call the state on that. Other than that, that's it. So, public comment. Fred.
Fred had his hand up.
In season premieres May 27th on. I'm sorry.
What was that?
I think that was Jim, but
Yeah, because I said that, I'll message him and check. You can go ahead, Fred.
Okay.
I had a question regarding the sewer system expansion, looking for grants. Jenny, I think you said that the mobile home park, the need for mobile home park coverage
Well,
really helped make it happen.
well, they spent 300,000 in there.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long it's gonna last. I mean, they put a lot of stuff down us. They shouldn't grind us.
But did the need for the mobile home parks to have coverage, did that really move the project along?
No, I don't think,
Was it moving along?
you know, it did what it did. You know, I don't want to say anything against them.
Well, I was just, basically, I was wondering if they had grants earmarked for upgrading mobile home parks or public housing areas.
I think they run out of grants, to be honest with you.
Earmarks for basically for residential communities, like
Yeah.
like a senior center or something like that.
Mhm.
Or grants for expansion based on an industrial or commercial need.
Mhm.
Do you mean currently, or do you mean like when it first got put in?
No, well, for the current needs, if
Okay.
when you're looking for grants, if you can specify, we want it for commercial, industrial, we want it for the residential community, or we want it for a public housing type of community, you know, if you can focus it that way and
Yeah.
it help.
Well, that's, in my opinion on it is based off of the rules that we have, like for the Act 47 standards that we're going to try to implement. Some of that stuff is allowing more building to be done. That's what a lot of the first rules are. And to allow that to be done, it doesn't, when I read through them, I'm like, I know already, because I've already heard those discussions that the system is not going to be capable of taking more. And that's why I was asking those questions too, is because if we allow this rules to happen, that means people are able to go and start building 5 units and more, it says, are able to start doing that, but that's on the system. And how do we do that as a town
Stay ahead of it.
and allow that to happen if our town can't handle that? I mean, the systems can't handle it. So we would have to upgrade or it wouldn't happen.
Might be for commercial or industrial,
Mhm.
but you're putting in a grant to expand the system and then somebody
Right.
jump right in and take over that for a multi-housing unit.
Right. That's what I think we're gonna discuss mostly, is gonna see what section I think we're gonna go with. Is it gonna be a residential use more to expand for that?
Right.
Commercial use? I mean, I think I'm with Brian on that. I think commercial use first should be one of the things on there, because that's what we're trying to expand to get more economic development here, is gonna be expanding into our commercial areas. So, excuse me, for me, it would be allowing or getting enough capacity to run that, if Matt hooked up to it or something else.
Mac's not with it, right? I mean, they're not on a center.
No, I think they're still private. It just goes by them.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
But in order to hook them up, I think it was mentioned before that I think we'd have to upgrade the pumps and the line, at least from Mac
Something would have.
down through to a larger diameter.
Right.
Depending on the usage Mac would be putting into it, but I think the assumption was if that went from a building that has 2 people doing caretaking to running 40, 50 people down there, obviously
Gonna need to.
they would need to do some massive upgrade to it.
Yeah.
But I think if we apply for any grants to septic upgrades, it's gonna be dependent on where we try to target and what our expectations are.
Yeah.
Like, to my knowledge, right now, I don't think there's any huge problem areas that need to be addressed as like an emergency,
No.
like things that have gone defunct. Cause I think at that point, then that's a whole separate funding that we get from the state that's a lot quicker.
Yeah. As far as like trailer parks and stuff, I think most of them are hooked up now.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't affect any of that stuff. The usage is already there for that. It's just gonna be what we do additional to everything now.
And it's gonna depend on, like we kept saying, like where we target it. Cause obviously if we try to target more development on the top of the mountain towards your mom,
Right.
obviously we wouldn't be applying for a grant to upgrade down through there.
Right.
As he suggested, it's down there.
Right. Most of it.
That's kind of where I'm envisioning is down 346 down to that end of town down towards 7.
Right.
Be specific as to why you want to expand it.
Yeah, well, depending on what,
Right.
if we apply for a grant for it, depending on, my opinion, what they're asking for information is going to dictate. If they want specifics on like why we want to do it, then obviously we have to tell them. But if we just tell them we want to do it for economic development and zoning changes,
Not gonna get it.
Right.
probably not.
No, I know, but
Yeah, no, it's gonna be based off of
real needs.
these rules going into place. We don't have a space for
State might prefer packing people in housing.
them.
And
Yeah.
Well, that's obviously where the state is going toward, but like, I do believe the state is still leaving the door open for economic development.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, we can't enforce or put these same types of things in. We just wouldn't be able to do it at all, right, on the current system.
Yeah, right now.
So that's what we have to, the letter to them would be based off of, we have to do some
you
expansion.
expand the septic system, you also gotta expand law enforcement and other.
Well, we don't have to expand those other services. I mean, let's not put the cart before the horse here, like,
How much you expand the population or how many more people are in town at a given time.
well, I get where you're going with that, Fred, but like one step at a time. I mean, we're talking proposed zoning bylaw changes. We're not enacting a municipal police force.
Right.
I'm not saying that it's not going to happen eventually in Pownell's future,
You
but,
have to consider all those things.
well, you do, but like one step at a time.
Yeah, when the population merits it.
Yeah. I mean, right now, like we don't
Have enough housing.
have the tax base. We don't have the population to merit having in my view, serious discussion about police enforcement where we got to carry a municipal police department. Not yet.
Successful in our goals, then we'll have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's nice.
Yeah, because if we don't get a grant to expand this, we won't have anything here.
Yeah, that's going to be just it. If we don't get the funding for it, then all this is going to be moot point anyway.
Right.
Then at that point, then we're just enacting the bare minimum changes that the state's mandating.
Right. And it would only be, a dozen of these rules.
Well, you have to look at those and see if any of those are gonna like impact the town. Our current infrastructure.
Right.
If any of those
Yeah.
could create something that.
Mhm. I mean, like I said, I didn't get through all of them yet, but I went through a good amount of them. And it just, there's so many things in there that they put that
Doesn't fit Pownell.
just there's a lot of stuff for the town and some, I don't think some of these rules should be in place, but that's my own opinion of them. But currently we can't do some of these things just based off of what we have. And that's what we had to figure out how we're gonna manage that without an upgrade to the system. I can tell you right now, this first page is not gonna go in.
Nope.
It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, because any of these things that get applied for are gonna have to apply for a separate permit
Correct.
through sewer, and Darcy's not gonna approve.
None.
I mean, pretty much as something gets unhooked, it creates an opening and then somebody else can hook up, and pretty much that's about what she's been doing. As soon as one gets closed, there's somebody right there with a permit getting hooked up.
Yeah, I heard, I don't know
Yeah.
how true it is, but I heard that she's already got people waiting to get put in.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it's been, as a waiting line.
Yep.
So as far as like these people that have like, if somebody wants to put a four unit dwelling in,
Right,
well, they're gonna be waiting a while.
right. Cause it's impossible.
Yeah, right now.
So,
Another caller?
Oh, yeah, we forgot Jim had his hand up at one point.
yeah, any other questions or comments?
I'm sorry, guys. No problem there. First of all, I'm
Yeah.
just piggyback. Good evening, guys. How you doing? First of all, I tell you, compared to other meetings, this has been very enjoyable listening to you guys and what your thoughts and everything are going through. I mean, it's not rambling or anything like that. I mean, you guys are putting some really thoughts in this whole thing. I just want to piggyback on Fred on the idea of, first of all, I'm very surprised about the capacity of the sewage treatment plant. I mean, it's news to me that from what I'm hearing, we're very close to capacity. And we're trying to do so many different things about economic developments and things like that, and spending money here and spending money there to have BCRC come in, but we may not have the capacity to do all of that. And so I guess I'd like to see Darcy come with a capacity report on the 18th that you have the meeting, to just let the townspeople know, where do we stand with that capacity? Second of all, you have to remember this town is split. Those that are connected to the septic and those that are not connected to the septic. And if hopefully you guys can get similar to what we got before, very close to 100% grant to come to that plant. Except I'm still paying $75 a year. It's peanuts to me, but I just want to make sure that I am told how much I'm going to pay more if we have to upgrade that system, or if it's all going to be just the users at this point that are going to be doing it. How we incorporate that into economic development, I'm not sure, but so many things are happening with the increase of emergency services and other things like that. I just want to make sure that people are aware of it. The last thing is that if you do have workshops and they're not Zoomed, hopefully you guys have a good minutes person to make sure that something is put onto the minutes so that people can understand what's happening. I cannot attend the meetings at this point. I enjoy coming to the Zoom ones, but I don't want to have anything surprise to any people out there. I'd like to know what's happening in this town. So thank you very much and have a good night.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Yep.
You make a good point, Jim. $75 we all pay in the woods.
Mhm.
And, hey, just on the bond.
Right.
So it's gonna affect a lot.
How many more years does that bond have?
I don't, we'll find out from Darcy.
It's in the annual report. It's many years out, which goes along with the town office that we're paying a bond for. And then I know we're gonna come up with a bond for the a firehouse if we need that firehouse. I'm sure we do, but I mean, there's a lot of discussions that have to go on. How much can I afford in bonds? That's a question.
One of the things I heard, Brian, on that was, it was a 20-year bond. And that was in 2001 when we had done That's what I,
Yeah, well, I was digging through old papers, throwing stuff away, and I found the original warning for it, and it was only like a 20-year one, and I'm like, well, that's over with.
that would be over by now,
Yeah.
but we're still paying on it, so.
Oh, yeah.
Never changed.
Happy.
The town hall was also a 20-year bond, if anybody's interested. So
But we're
it's
still-
have about 16 years left.
Yeah. 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 A lot of.
Okay, any other comments?
No, hands up.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
any other thing? Go
Only
ahead.
because I was late. I had listened to the select board meeting where you guys were talking about the Facebook streaming thing. How do, I know we have Zoom for ours, and I know we got rid of Cat TV because we were gonna do Facebook. What happened to us doing Facebook Live?
I don't know about
So
that.
the Facebook Live thing is just met with too much difficulty. And
As far as,
whoever that is.
difficulty in what way?
As far as like sharing it, and then depending on which account is sharing it, remembering to make sure that it's viewable to all public and not just,
From technical.
versus friends, and then the whole resharing thing. Basically, it was, my opinion, it was turning into people were using it just as an opportunity to say not so nice things about the town.
Like how?
And it would people could say whatever they want online, but we're not obligated to be able to do Facebook Live.
Oh, no, I know.
So-
How were they saying things?
Basically, people were sharing, resharing, commenting, and then we were getting accused of like trying to hide stuff because, if you go to share something, sometimes Facebook doesn't share it properly. Sometimes the algorithm doesn't push it.
Well, I mean, I've
Just-
done Facebook Live where you just turn it on and it's live. That's all it takes. It's not, any 16-year-old can do it. So I don't understand.
Not any 70-year-old.
Well,
So I don't understand it. And if people are commenting, I mean, and sharing,
Yeah,
what's the big deal about people commenting and sharing? That's.
so the discussion that the select board, so we're way off topic here, and I'm speaking at this point, like I'm here as a planning commission member,
No,
not as a
that's
select board
why
member.
I wanted to add it, because I'm wanting to see what we're doing, because, but I know it's like the select board has their own thing. But what I'm trying to find out is what we got rid of Cat TV, because we got a grant for equipment to be able to stream and
Yep.
do Zoom, do streaming, do the whole thing. Well, we're not streaming. I mean, some people don't go on Zoom, but they're on Facebook. So if somebody's sitting there at home and there's,
And I do believe we have it on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
what is it?
Planning is on
It's
YouTube as well,
Is
isn't it?
it live?
It's not live.
Well, it's posted to YouTube. I don't think it's live on YouTube.
Right, that's what I'm trying to get, is something live that if people are scrolling and they're like, oh geez, there's a planning commission meeting. I didn't know. I can just sit here and watch it on my phone. People should be able to have that kind of access to, it's not that hard to do. That's what I'm saying, is, select board can do whatever they want, but since we definitely don't have Cat TV, people aren't really seeing it live unless they're in Zoom, and some people don't deal with Zoom. I mean, but a lot of them, it's mostly business people deal with Zoom. But I don't see why we
They can
could,
go to the website and see what day there's a meeting.
and if they can't come to the meeting,
They can either come here or be on Zoom.
You're afraid you're gonna see some ugly comments that don't look.
yeah, just scroll past it. I don't see why we can't just have Facebook Live and make it easier for people to see the meetings. I mean, I've missed meetings because I'm on the commission and there's times that I can't come, so it'd be nice if people could see it. If you don't want to look at the comments, don't look at the comments. That's, I mean.
I'm
You can
confused.
also shut the comments off, I thought.
But if this is already streamed and you can join via Zoom, anybody can, right?
But if they don't want to use Zoom, because
I mean,
some people
I guess
don't
I'm just
some people don't
ignorant.
have the app, they don't want to use
You don't
it.
need the app. You can join on your browser. You don't need the
I
app.
mean, I don't mind using, like when I'm here, I'll set up Facebook Live on my profile's public.
Well, and I'm not
Yeah.
opposed to that because I don't know enough about it, but I'm not clear on what the barrier is because anybody who has a browser can watch a Zoom meeting. Maybe you can't comment. I don't know with this. I mean, there's chat. I think anybody can get on. So I don't necessarily, given the select board tried it and then decided they didn't like it, I'm taking that as advice. But, you know, I don't know a lot. That's just all I know.
That's their board. This is our board.
A lot of people are more comfortable with Facebook.
A lot more people. are.
See, I avoid Facebook.
I mean,
And that's the thing too, it's like if you forget that the Zoom's going on and it's there, you're like, oh geez, you can jump right in and watch it. So if they comment or they want to talk to each other like this, that, let them do whatever they want to do. Who cares?
The bottom line, and I agree with Michelle, is that the more ways we have for people to join meetings, the more transparent the town of Pownell is. So I'm not a big Facebook fan, but this is a really good use of Facebook. So I would like to see, you know, give the townspeople the choice. Zoom, Facebook Live. They can show up at the meeting. They can do Zoom if they're comfortable with it. But a lot of people aren't comfortable with Zoom. They should be able to do Facebook as well. It doesn't seem to be any technical hurdles there.
Maybe we can figure out how to do it through the town's Facebook page. That would be the best. But if not, I mean, I can do it from my phone and I can share it to other pages where we know people would be like, they would see it. Because like, I'm not friends with everybody in Pownell, so they may not see my feed.
Well, could we maybe just, I mean, I certainly support anything that'll help more people understand what's going on in the room. It seems like we should talk to Tara, who I assume had to deal with this and knows what the problems were. And let's find out. And if we can solve the problems, great, let's do it. I just don't know what the problems are.
I mean, that's
Okay.
the way I heard it.
Yeah,
It takes too
I'm not a-
much to set it up.
technical guy like that.
Yeah.
Stuff. So
Well, put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Yeah.
I think trying
we can do that.
to shut down one venue or another one based on, you don't want to see the public comments.
Yeah, no,
It's
that's,
like, it smells like, not smells, but it seems like trying to control the dialogue.
yeah.
Whether that's what it is or not, that's
Yeah.
what it seems like, so.
No, and if people are feeling badly about what we're doing, I kind of like to hear that. I know, it's not always fun.
I don't want to get going here live.
Yeah.
Really, I don't.
Yeah, let's put it on the next agenda.
Yeah, I'll put it on.
And maybe
I think
find
we
out-
had a pretty productive meeting. Let's not go down the rabbit hole on something that wasn't on the agenda.
Yeah.
Let's bring it up to the next meeting. And if the planning commission so votes at the next meeting that we want to do Facebook Live, then so be it. That's the way the board votes. I know the select board voted to no longer do Facebook Live. If planning commission votes to do it, then we do it.
Well,
Simple
then
as
I'd
that.
like to request some feedback from Tara or whoever on the select board could actually give us the technical problem so we could find out if we could solve it or not.
Yeah, that's great.
If a phone can do it, I don't know enough about how this all works, but, you know, I just need to be educated before I vote.
Yeah, if we just know what the technical issues are, if we can figure them out. But,
Move to adjourn.
all right.
Yeah, with that being said.
I'll second that motion.
Yep, motion for second.
Stacy, aye.
Brian, I.
David, aye.
Bye-bye.
Michelle, I.
Jim, I.
John, I.
Woo.
Thank you everyone for watching and have a good night.